Oh, are we on the air?
Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today we are going to talk about how to shoot a powerful draw shot with spin. Now, as always with these videos, I need to remind you guys that sometimes I will substitute the word English for spin because in the States, especially in the generation that I came up learning to play pool, we called left and right spin English. Those of you who think draw is English, you are incorrect. It's left and right spin is what we're talking about when we talk about English. But in the meantime, I will try to use the word spin because it is more internationally accepted. Now, that said, we are going to talk about how to shoot draw shots with spin, but not just draw shots, but powerful draw shots. Draw shots that are going to get you around the table or are going to cover a lot of distance. Here's an example. Let's say we're on the 3-ball and we need to make the 8-ball. It's very easy to leave the cue ball there and then cut this 8-ball in this pocket here. But let's say we have a situation where we can't do that and we have to come from this direction because there's other traffic on the table. This would be a draw shot with spin. We come down to this rail, we make a hard right-hand turn, at least from my perspective, and we get on this 8-ball. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about a draw shot with spin. A couple weeks ago, I made a video, I'll put a link to it here, that talks about how to play multi-rail position using draw shots with spin. In order to make those shots, you're going to have these shots in your game or you're not going to be able to play those shots. I am not going to spend a lot of time showing you very specific shots. I will throw some into the video so you can see, maybe some from the previous video, but I want to get to the details on how to actually execute the shots so that you can make the shots and put the spin on the ball at the same time. So, short and sweet, the reason you're putting spin on this cue ball when you draw it back is because of the action the ball is going to take after it hits the rail. You're not just drawing back to the rail, but you want to draw back to a rail and make a hard right turn or a hard left turn or to go off of multiple rails. So keep in mind that there are specific reasons we're trying to do this, and when you can avoid it, you're going to avoid doing it because it is going to magnify the difficulty of every shot you shoot. So let's try to avoid it, but when it comes up, this is going to be how you do it. So the first thing you need to know before you can shoot a powerful draw shot with spin is how to shoot a powerful draw shot. And before you can learn how to shoot a powerful draw shot, you got to be able to shoot a draw shot. So I am going to assume that you have a draw shot in your game. And if you don't, this will put one in your game even while you're learning how to shoot the power draw. Now, what do we mean by a powerful draw shot? We mean that not only are you bringing the balls from one end of the table to the other. So this would be, this would be a decent draw shot. This is an 8-foot table, and this would be a decent draw shot. But we're talking about when the balls are also separated. On an 8-foot table, put a ball about a diamond past the side pocket and draw it back to the rail. If you're on a 9-foot table, put it about the halfway mark. 7-foot table, same as an 8. Just put it about a diamond behind it. Shoot a draw shot and bring the ball back to the rail. If you can do that, then you probably have a strong enough draw shot to get through most of this video and to get through the previous video that shows you how to use the draw shot with spin to get position. So, if you don't have that shot, that's where this is going to come in. We're going to work on your draw shot, and then we're going to add the spin to the draw shot, which is going to make it a little bit more complex, but I will get you there. The first thing that you need to know about the draw shot is that, unfortunately, there's a lot of moving parts. Not necessarily that they're moving, but there's a lot of parts that have to be correct. You need to have a nice smooth stroke. It has to be smooth. You don't want to have a jerky stroke when you're shooting the ball. You need to have a loose grip on the cue. This is where a lot of guys screw this up. You got to have a loose grip on the cue. I always go back to the baby bird analogy. You're going to hold your cue like you're holding a baby bird. You don't want to crush it, and you don't want to let it fly away. That's where you are on this. Where you hold the cue as far as the distance back should have a lot to do with your height your comfort, your balance point on your cue, and all of those factors. So gang, basically what you have is a checklist for yourself. Loose grip here, tight bridge, preferably, in my camp, a closed bridge. You're going to get down on the shot with as level a cue as you can. Big tip here, if you can make a slightly longer bridge, you will get more power out of the shot, just like in a break shot. If you have a short bridge, it's going to be difficult for you to get the energy behind this ball that's going to be able to draw it back with a lot of spin on it. The spin is going to eat up some of the energy from the draw, and it's going to be tougher to draw the ball back, so your draw shot is going to have to be strong as ever. And once it hits a rail, the spin will take over. But in the middle of the table, you want to make sure you have enough energy on that draw shot to have it coming back with that spin. So having a longer bridge will help you do that. When you go through your checklist, your cue ball, you're going to be hitting much lower than you probably feel comfortable. If you're having trouble drawing the ball, you are probably doing one of 4 or 5 things, and one of them is you're probably hitting the cue ball not quite as low as you can. I know a lot of you are scared to death you're going to scoop the ball, but to hit a good, solid, strong draw shot, you're going to have to hit it a lot lower than a lot of you feel comfortable. Now, that said, how do you get comfortable with it? Have a good, strong stroke, but make sure you have the accuracy. When you scoop the ball, chances are you are flinching, you're doing something, raising your cue, something that is taking you from your practice stroke to your actual stroke and moving the cue down to the point that now you are up under the cue ball. So that's the number one reason a lot of you scoop the ball. It's not because you hit it too low, it's because you hit it lower than you wanted to when you went through your actual stroke. A lot of guys change their shot when they're shooting draw shots, especially long shots. So you have to be conscious of the fact that you might not be hitting it where you think you're hitting it. So going through your checklist, your grip here, your grip here, your cue is as level as possible given the situation that you're in. You're down on the shot, you've done all your aiming already from up here. You're down on the shot, you've got your nice tight grip here on your bridge. Follow through. If you can see the lines on the table, the follow through on this shot is about 7 or 8 inches. If you have a short follow through, there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to draw the ball back at that kind of distance. So you've got to have a good follow through. You put all these things into place, next thing you know, you've got a powerful draw shot. Okay, you are not going to be someone who can automatically shoot a powerful draw shot just because you watched the first part of this video. You are going to have to put in your reps, and you are going to have to progress to longer and longer shots. This is a big mistake that guys make. If you are missing the shot, you are probably not being quite true on your stroke. On your backstroke, or coming forward, or on your bridge, the cue is probably moving to the left or right. If you normally are able to knock this in with a stop shot and you can't do it with a draw shot, it's because you're doing something during that shot because you know you're about to shoot a strong draw shot. You're doing something to change it up. You need to identify what that is. But don't think you're going to go from 0 to 60 just because you saw the video. You got to put in your reps. So now, let's talk about the draw shot with spin and some of the obstacles that you're going to run into when you're shooting that shot. If I shoot this one ball and I want to draw it back here and I do everything correct and I draw it back, not a problem. But if I shoot it and I want to put any kind of spin on it, left or right, I've got throw to deal with. I'm not talking about the throw in terms of deflection coming off of the cue ball. That's there as well. But what's happening to the object ball when I put left or right spin on it? Those of you that have been around for a little while know that if I put right hand spin on this, it's going to throw this ball to the left. And if I put left hand spin on it, it's going to throw it to the right. So what do I do if I want to draw this back and get over here for this ball like we did in the first example? What I am doing is adjusting for the fact that that ball is going to be thrown to the right as I shoot it back with left hand spin, and the ball is spinning clockwise and coming back over here. The left hand spin is going to take a shot that would be straight in and send that ball here. So how do I get it here? I am in effect aiming here. As you get better, you are not aiming to miss. We never want to aim to miss. If we aim to miss, if I say, I want you to aim to miss on the left-hand side of this pocket, then aiming to miss becomes a habit. What we should be doing is aiming to make the shot and subconsciously making the adjustment. Now, how do you get to the subconscious adjustment? The way you get there is by putting in the reps. When you shoot this initially, yes, you may be aiming for this side of the pocket to get it here. But as you get better, you are still aiming for the back of that pocket. You just naturally compensate for it. And it happens so naturally, I was trying to illustrate to someone the other day what happens when you put throw on a ball and where the ball should go. And I could not miss the back of the pocket because I just automatically make adjustments for it. So don't think of yourself as aiming to miss. Think of yourself as compensating for the fact that that ball is going to go there. Another problem with aiming to miss is if this ball is here, I have a different target than if the ball is here. And again, if it's here. If the ball is here, I can aim for the back of the pocket, put all the spin on it I want. If the pockets are wide enough, I'm going to make it. So be very careful about aiming for this spot. Think of yourself in terms of compensating for the English that is going to be applied to the ball and is going to throw the ball to the right. Okay? It's a mindset more than anything else. Now, shooting this shot, this ball is going to be thrown to the right so that I can get that clockwise English that'll bring me over here. The shot looks like this. You're down on the shot. I've got, everybody wants to know, how much English? We'll talk about that in a second. I am hitting the ball as low as I can without miscuing. No, I do not have a GoPro shot for you because if I showed you with a GoPro on my head, what you're seeing is my vantage point from my forehead, not from my eye. If you see a GoPro shot of that, what I just did, the angle that you're seeing is not true. I can tell you where I'm hitting the ball. I am hitting it as low as possible without miscuing, and I am giving it just about one tip of English. The follow through, the nice smooth stroke, the nice tight grip, all of those things in place with one tip of English and hitting the ball low, and you'll have the same result. Now, when you're initially learning the shot, you are not going to have all those things in place. So make the shot easy and then make it more difficult. Do not start with this shot. This is how you learn the shot. I gave you this shot in a previous video, and it is probably the most simple draw shot with spin and possibly the most useful draw shot with spin that you're going to get. The idea here is I'm playing this ball and I have to avoid traffic by coming off of this rail here and getting over to this rail so that I can get on the 10 ball. And this is a relatively short shot where the cue ball comes off the rail with all that spin and heads down here. Now, this is an important fact. This ball was headed straight for this pocket. If I overshot it, I would have scratched. These shots, because you don't have total control over how much spin you're putting on it, the angle is going to change. If I was able to put those balls in the exact same spot, and I shot this over and over again, I'm going to get a slightly different result depending on how much spin I put on it. And this is key because you need to know that you're not going to have full accuracy when you come down table. The first time I shot that in a match, actually, I came down and I scratched in the pocket here. And then later I learned I know how to adjust the English so that I can come here, I can come here, or I can recognize the angle and have a good idea where I'm going to come. And if it leads straight for this pocket, you undershoot it. This all comes with experience. Okay, gang, if you are familiar with the channel, you are familiar with the semicircle drill. The semicircle drill confuses a lot of players. They want to know, what kind of English did you put on that? Oh, you're moving from left to right. Did you put right hand spin on that? Did you put left hand spin on it? That drill is done with zero English. It's all short draw. And remember, English means left and right spin. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because a lot of players think that you're shooting a draw shot with spin to get somewhere different on the table when there's no rails involved. And that's just not the case. Now, I'm going to show you the semicircle, but we're going to use spin to get position, but we're going to be hitting the rail on each shot. So it'll look something like this. Here, we're going to get on the 2 with just a touch of left-hand spin, good follow through. We come back and we're on the 2. Now, if you can see this from my angle, we're actually on the wrong side of the 2 ball. Our cue ball ends up on this side. So what we're going to do, shoot another draw shot, come off this rail with even more left-hand spin to get on the 9. And we spin our cue ball over here. Now, we have almost a perfect angle to come off the 9 to get on the 1 without any spin. So, if we can pull it off without the left or right spin, what should we do? We pull it off without the left or right spin. We just want to bring this back a few inches, and we can say we overshot it because we really should be here. So that's a big overshoot, right? No, because we got the tools today to draw this off of here and come back out here to play the 11. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to require a better stroke, more English, good follow through, all of those things so that we can get back and get position on this 11. Shot looks like this. And now we have position on the 11 ball. That's the semicircle with spin. Okay, gang, if you watch this channel, you know that creativity is key with me in this channel. There are a couple channels out there that have some really good information, and they are very analytical and very educational, but again, analytical and lacking creativity. I like to show you some of the creativity that goes in these shots so that you can open your mind to situations that will allow you to get position when you normally would not get position on a shot. Here's one of those situations. Here, we have the 1 ball, we want to play it in that corner pocket, and we want to get on the 6 ball, which is here. If we shoot a regular draw shot, we may end up back in this area, but we don't want to be back in this area. Just looking at the shot here, I might actually be able to draw it down into this gap here, but that's not going to get me where I want to be. So what's going to happen if I put right-hand spin on this shot? I'm going to throw the 1 ball towards that pocket. The cue ball, if I shoot it well, will come back, hit this rail with all of that counterclockwise spin and move right behind the 6 ball. This is not a shot that will come up a bunch of times in a game, but it illustrates the possibilities when you use the throw that you have to put on that ball anyway, along with the draw and the spin. So the shot looks like this. We spin the cue ball right back and into this position. Don't forget to subscribe, hit me in the comments. Let me know if you found this beneficial and if you're going to try to incorporate these shots in your game, or if you're already using them in your game. Hit me in the comments and let me know that. Subscribe, hit that little bell, notifications, thumb up, all of that good stuff, and have a great day.